Yeah. So it's a trailer that exists. This is Willy's Wonderland. Willy's Wonderland, a trailer review for the trailer that we got. Nicolas Cage plays Nicolas Cage in Nicolas Cage 2, The Nicolas Cagening. I think that the premise on display here. Look, okay, so what it is it's genre bending. It is genre bending with horror, and I think one would be tempted to say the superhero genre or horror and action adventure. This is genre bending with horror and comedy, and it will be not Anchorman type comedy. It will instead be comedy, a pure character driven comedy, like Napoleon Dynamite, I think, is what we're going to get here. We're going to get Napoleon Dynamite meets Nicolas Cage meets Chuck E. Cheese. And I hope that it turns Hollywood on its head. There's been a lot of genre bending with horror lately. Freaky recently with Vince Vaughn, also from Anchorman, by the way. But Vince Vaughn in Freaky, for me, this type of genre bending experience, I think, got a revival with in the House in the Woods, A House in the Woods, Home in the Woods, A House in the Woods, the Joss Whedon joint, where it wasn't actually a cabin in the woods. Cabin in the Woods, not just cabin in the woods, just cabin in the woods. I think that's where this genre really started getting going again, because that movie, if I remember correctly, did not do very well at the box office, but it formed for a little while quite a cult following. And this seems to be, Willy's Wonderland seems to be the logical end of the road for this. This looks amazing. This looks fantastic. This looks like an opus to the genre bending. Look, if you want to get weird about it, if you really want to get weird about it, Freddy Krueger was a real funny guy. If you want to get super weird about it, a lot of the kills in the Friday the 13th stuff were hilarious. If you want to get really, really funny about it, Stephen King, well, with the exception of Carrie, every Stephen King novel that I've read that is horror, it's not The Gunslinger, things like that. Every Stephen King novel that I've read, which is horror, involves some type of joke-making villain. There was a lot of jokes and lewd stuff thrown around in The Shining. Jack was a pretty funny guy when he wanted to be. It, for Christ's sake, revolved around a clown. So I think that this idea of laughing, there's a nervous laughter mechanism inherent to everyone. There's a nervous laughter that you will do. I think that the mechanism for nervousness, because you're not really scared, you're not in real danger when watching a movie, it's a nervous type of fear. I think that what this is doing is this is undercutting that, and it is recognizing the fact that that nervous laughter, which happens in horror movies, is inherent to the human experience. Am I getting too deep for a Willy's Wonderland trailer review? But I think this genre-bending horror comedy mishmash that has been going on in Hollywood for a little while is, I think it's inherent to horror in general. It makes me wonder if this is horror finding its truer form than the Annabelle movies, for example. I think there's something there, but it's not quite this. Those Annabelle movies, movies like that don't feel as story-driven and holistic as these types of movies do. The Blair Witch Project, great experience for what it was. For me, it left me feeling like we didn't get a whole lot of story. It left me feeling like there was something missing. There was something missing there. We didn't quite get all of it. I should move on. There's the line in this, he's not stuck in there with them, they're stuck in there with him. Perhaps this goes further back in pop culture, but for me, the line comes from The Watchmen with Rorschach. The implication there being when Rorschach was sent to prison, everyone in prison knows of Rorschach. Many of them were put there by him. Someone comes up to him and says, hey, now you're stuck in here with us. The implication there being, you had all the power on the outside, but we've got it in here, baby. And Rorschach counters with, I'm not stuck in here with you. You're stuck in here with me. The implication there being, you're not in prison for doing bad things. You're in prison to keep me from doing bad things to you. So it's ripped, I think, straight from Watchmen. That plagiaristically, but it seems to be very fitting for the script. Another thing that struck me from the presentation in this trailer was the Willy's Wonderland font. Did they just straight up nick the Harley Quinn font? The Harley Quinn angle? The Harley Quinn colors? Everything? Maybe I'm misremembering what the Harley Quinn deal looked like, but it looks to me like they just straight up said, yeah, I like that. We're going to take it. We're going to put it on Nicolas Cage. Maybe at some point, Nicolas Cage will have the blue and red shorts. I hope. We can only hope. There's no guarantee in this world that we live in. The only other thing that I have to talk about, there's only one question here. Is there a twist end of some sort to this movie, or how far do they take it? What I mean is there some twist ending, which obviously is a twist ending, hard to foresee, or that next morning does Cowboy in White come back expecting to find Nicolas Cage's corpse, but now Willy's Wonderland belongs to Nicolas Cage? Or is it a simple movie ending where he comes back, Nicolas Cage has wrecked the boy's shop, and he wants his car paid for? How far do we take the joke here? Has Nicolas Cage's character, Nicolas Cage, found his new home? Maybe the man who's been on the run his whole life, depended on nothing more than a fancy car and a leather jacket, was running because he had nowhere to belong. He was running because he had nowhere to stop, and now he knows his true life's calling. Now he is one with Willy's Wonderland. I don't know. I'm not willing to take bets on whether or not there is a twist ending or a regular ending, such as the ones that I outlined there. Those are logical conclusions. Those are not M. Night Shyamalan endings where, and I'm not disparaging M. Night Shyamalan. Also, M. Night's movies had some laughs in them. I'm not disparaging M. Night Shyamalan, but what I mean is you don't expect the logical ending of most of those movies to be the ending that they had. That's what I mean by twist. You don't necessarily foresee those things coming. Maybe Signs a little bit. But I don't know. I can't wait for this movie. I don't know why. Possibly because we might get to see Nicolas Cage in his final form. That's all I got.